This is the Inspection Pros Podcast, where we break down everything you need to know to grow a successful home inspection company. Join host Jake as we get insider knowledge from the industry's best on how to take your business to the next level.
Welcome back to the Inspection Pros Podcast. Today, the pro that's joining us is Brigitte Malik, the VP of the Inspection Boys, joining us from Long Island. Hi, Brigitte. It's nice to see you again.
Hey, Jake. Thanks so much for the invitation. Really appreciate it. So excited to be on here today.
My pleasure. The last time we spoke was quite a while ago. We had you on in May of 2021, and I'm just so excited to have you back on to dive into the changes that have happened in the industry since we last spoke. What does the current market look like, the outlook of the current market, and I'm very excited. I want to start off with the changes that the Inspection Boys have made since we last spoke, what evolution you've undergone, what big milestones you've hit. So I'm very excited to touch upon, how you've changed in the past year, and then also how the market's changing.
Awesome. Well, I mean, definitely since last we spoke, a lot has happened since then, and really excited just to kind of explain everything. When we last spoke, I was explaining of the recent merger that we did with Loyalty Brands, and that Inspection Boys and Loyalty Brands are now in partnership. And that's been going really well, actually. It's been a lot of training on myself and my business partner, Matthew Rivera, who's the CEO of the Inspection Boys, and just trying to get to a different mindset and a different level so that we can, be the biggest home inspection franchise in the country within our vision. Like, our vision is within the next 6 years to have 600 locations. So that's a pretty big number, right? So, it's been, and it doesn't happen overnight. So since then, it's just been a lot of training, getting to know everybody, kind of trying to get to that better place. And, so, sorry, my daughter's here. So if you see her, she's right here.
To anyone not watching the video, we have a special guest. Bridget's daughter has joined us on the video. But Bridget, I'm very excited that you started off with giving us your vision and sharing the Inspection Boys vision, because you were the first franchise that we had on the show. So getting into that conversation and bringing a fresh perspective was awesome for a lot of people who maybe hadn't thought of the inspection business as something that you could franchise. So before we get into the changes you've made, do you want to touch on a little bit about the Inspection Boys and what you're all about past the vision and how it all works?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Inspection Boys, we are a home inspection franchise. So anybody, a franchise concept, what makes it really great is it's different than just buying opening a business, right? You get your home inspection license, and a lot of people then, what do? Right? So a franchise helps eliminate all those problems, right? When you buy a franchise, you're buying the systems, you're buying the brand, and then you're buying systems that actually work. Right? And so a lot of people don't understand that concept. And you hear a lot of different, I'm heavily involved in the industry, and you hear hatred all the time on social media platforms. Oh, don't get a franchise. What do they do for you? But in reality, you're buying a business in a box. And unless you know exactly what you're doing, this helps eliminate spending a ton of money on, expenses and, marketing strategies that just don't work. So, that's one of the biggest, crucial benefits of a franchise. And Inspection Boys, I mean, our biggest thing is that we are part of Loyalty Brands. We have John Hewitt, who's pretty much our mentor, and who's, this guy has sold and started and made so many people multimillionaires, and he started thousands of franchises, and this is who our mentor is, right? So imagine like Roy Kroc, but in modern day. Right? That's pretty much who we have. So, so we have a great team behind us, and with that, we're able to just keep growing the Inspection Boys even further and further, and creating more business opportunities for people by offering one of the best, well, I want to say the best, but let's be a little bit humble, one of the best home inspection franchises in the country.
That's awesome. So I'm very excited to hear what you've been up to in the past year, other than other than that, having an amazing mentor. And then I want to segue that into what's next for you guys. And then we'll touch on the current market and the future of the market. But I know that you made your first business acquisition this year. Was that the loyalty brands?
So yeah, so we did our first business acquisition where we actually purchased a company of a great guy. He was actually retiring. He built a really great home inspection company. He actually used to be a commercial pilot for airlines, and once he retired doing that, he started a home inspection company. So since then, we kind of found him, and we did a business acquisition just recently. It was very stressful. I mean, we're talking about, buying something and then trying to convert it over right to our brand. And we're proud to say that so far it's been super successful. The staff has been crucial with helping make this so much smoother, the staff that came with the company. And our idea is just to keep buying different companies across the United States and converting them over to Inspection Boys brand. So that's kind of our big vision, and that'll help expand and grow Inspection Boys even faster.
Wow, that's awesome. So since we last spoke, you also added a Florida location, and I know that was a little bit unique. So let's dive into that.
So the business acquisition is also in Florida. That's on the West Coast, like north of Tampa. But we started from scratch an actual inspection company, Inspection Boys, in the South Florida. So it covers from West Palm Beach to Miami-Dade. And what's so unique about that franchise is it's literally a location where the owners are not licensed inspectors. The owners do 0 inspections. They just manage, and they've hired inspectors and a team in place, and the business is running like that, whereas the owners are in the back end instead of actually having to be inspectors, right? Which you hear of a lot of people opening up a business and they're the inspectors. I mean, I was when I started my business, right? I was the inspector for a number of years. And so the reason why this is great, because it fits that model for those who are coming into wanting to become a franchise, but they don't want to do the physical work. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be an inspector. Maybe they don't want to climb roofs. Maybe they don't want to go into crawl spaces. That's great, but they have the money and the investment behind them where they can actually start a business and put the team in place to help run the business. So it's been super successful. We're really happy with that. Really happy to see the progress of the franchisees there as well. And our idea is just keep replicating that for the business, for those who that business model appeals to, right? It's not going to appeal to everybody. Not everybody can support an investment like that, but it's been super successful.
So we saved well over $250K.
Just this quarter, we have saved about $30,000 in credit card fees.
Probably over $1,000 a month at least.
Over $150,000 this year alone.
$180,000 the first year we worked with them, and it's growing every single year.
Thank you, Pair Payments.
Thank you, Pair.
I would recommend them to anyone.
Yeah, just wish I would have done it sooner.
That's awesome, and I'm glad to hear that's successful because, first off, I'd be hesitant to say, hey, how hard is it for someone to come in and own a company if they haven't done the technical work and they're not familiar with it? So are you guys able to say, hey, here's the business in the box and really cut off that learning curve, or right out of the gate, is it ready to go?
So what we did was just like with anything, when you start with the franchise, there's certain steps that need to be done in order to launch, right? So with this franchisee, we had to work super closely with them and to make sure that all these prerequisite steps were done prior to coming to New York for their training, right? So we worked closely with them, and then when they came to New York, they literally brought all the inspectors, all the office staff, everybody to New York with them, and we trained them all on site, showing them all the different systems, how to do inspections. Like, we're talking about guys that never did a single inspection before.
Wow.
And we literally were just putting it on jobs, and training them and just showing them how to use all our systems and software so that they could be successful. They left New York after the training, and maybe within a week or so after they officially did their launch, they started doing inspections, right? And they had our team with the franchise there to help them review reports, know what to look for, and to make sure that quality was still A+, right? You don't want to send out a really bad inspection report. I mean, we all have seen really bad inspection reports, and that's not what we want. Like, we want inspection boys to be offering quality and really good home inspections out there. So we made sure that everything was being done. They were following the systems, taking the required photographs, and that's quality and service was not lacked. So it's been super well, and now, you know, they're all these guys are doing jobs on their own and able to know exactly what they're doing. They're great inspectors. Wow.
So how long does it take to get a franchise owner into the time where he's ready to go, up to your standard? So from square one with no inspection experience up to your standard, how long does that take?
Well, we tell franchisees it depends, right? A franchise owner, you know, this is their baby, this is their responsibility, and we're there to support them and help them look for the things that they need to be looking for in the reports. Just like any other business, when it comes to, you know, inspectors who you're overseeing, depends on, and this is what I try to tell franchisees, the inspector is going to be as ready, like, there's no such thing as a perfect inspection, right? Can we agree on that? Like, every inspector looks at inspections different ways, and some items are bigger than others. I mean, if you put 5 inspectors next to each other, every single one of those reports are going to look different. But the common theme should be the major issues, right? If there's a major electrical problem or major structural problem, they should be all nailing and hitting these things and getting these in the report, right? So I try to explain to franchisees, you know, you got to make sure that your inspectors are getting all these critical items, and the smaller details are a lot easier to fix. You want to make sure that the big items are always being met and that they're always catching those bigger items.
Wow. So what I hear from this, which is incredibly exciting, is that you're really quickly able to get someone up to speed, even if they started at square one. So imagine someone coming in with the technical experience, how fast you could get them up to speed in the system. It's encouraging. That's exciting.
Absolutely, but that's one of the benefits of a franchise.
Yeah.
Right? You can't get that if you just start something on your own. So with Inspection Boys, we're really big on the quality and the training that we provide you and the systems that we give you, because we really are, you're not getting franchisors that don't know the business. We know the business, and we can really help guide you and help you and show you exactly what needs to be done. So it's been working out pretty well.
So would you say to someone listening to this podcast that's just starting out, and it's a one-man shop, they're the owner, the technician, they're wearing all the hats of the business, what would you say to them when they're looking at a franchise and looking at that option? What would you say to them?
It depends on their goal, right? I like to start off with asking people what their why is and what their end goal is, right? If you have a better understanding of what it is that they're looking for, then that helps you figure out how to fill in the voids that they need. Right? So what is their goal? Is their goal that they want to not be doing inspections anymore and put the team in place, and they need help doing that? Then great, that's something we can help you with. You know, it's actually a lot easier for you know, a person that wants to just change their business model, needs help doing it, to join a franchise, because we can put all the systems in place for you relatively quickly and start changing your life, where you're not doing 3 inspections a day, 7 days a week. Yeah. You know, I mean, those who've done that, we know that 3 inspections a day is a long day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, you can get bogged down in the day-to-day, and then you can't think about growing your business. And that's why I'm so excited to have you on again to talk about franchises once again, because it offers a completely different perspective on how to grow your business in this industry, and really cut off a lot of the learning curve. And I know it's not for everyone, but it sounds like a fantastic option for some inspectors out there. And if it works for you, great. I'm just so excited to have this unique perspective in here and say, hey, this is another way to do it, because you really mention all the stuff we talk about on this podcast. All aspects of the business are things you guys train on, and you have people ready to go. So
exactly. And I think you said one really key thing, right? If this is something that you're looking for, right? Some people, they already have experience building businesses, so then a franchise wouldn't make sense for them. So it's important that people understand that, because there's a lot of hatred that goes against franchises, when in reality they're great for those who the business model fits.
Yeah. And before anyone comes at us in the comments, absolutely, we did we did say it's not for everyone. If it works for you, that's great. But definitely, if you have any questions on starting a franchise, if you want to be a franchisee, can people reach out to you, Bridget, and ask you questions on it before they get rolling?
Absolutely. I am always available. I'll actually give you the email that I always always monitor. It's Nassau, NASSAU, at theinspectionboys.com. And one thing I wanted to mention too that we didn't touch base on real quick is, for instance, the business acquisition, right? Most of the time, unless it's actually a bigger, company that actually does business acquisitions, which I know a few owners that are very big inspection companies across the country, and they will do business acquisitions, right? If it makes sense, if it's in the area that they want to expand to. But most of the time, other inspection companies are not who you're selling to. Most of the time, you're selling your business to a franchise. So that's one thing to keep in mind too, is, even if when you're part of a franchise, your business is actually can be worth a lot more than a mom and pop shop would be, because you already have the systems in place that a franchise is looking for. And that was one thing that just was a deciding factor for us on which business to acquire. If you don't have any systems in place, then it's probably not a business we even want to buy.
Yeah. So that's actually, you know what? That's something I want to get into. We're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsor, but let's get into that when we get back.
The home inspection industry is highly competitive, and you need an edge to stay on top. You certainly can't afford to give profit away for no reason. But what if I told you credit card processors may be overcharging you and robbing you of profits you've worked hard to earn? It's time to put an end to being overcharged for payment processing. It's time to take back your profits. That's why we've put together a free report, How to Avoid Being Overcharged by Your Payment Processor. Head over to takebackyourprofits.com, download the report, and put an end to being overcharged for credit card processing. You've worked hard for your sales, and you deserve to keep it. What are you waiting for? Go to takebackyourprofits.com and download your report today.
All right, and we are back with Brigitte Malik, the VP of the Inspection Boys, who is giving us some great insight into the franchise model in this industry. So in the home inspection industry, recently I've had a lot of guests who have been involved in mergers, acquisitions, sales of their business, and it's a lot of companies in the industry are doing it. There's a lot of movement, and so I'm excited to have you on today as a franchisor from your perspective. So a lot of these home inspectors who are thinking, hey, maybe I want to build this business up and sell it, but I don't know what it takes to get it to that point. I'm happy to have you on, and so from your perspective, you can share with us, what does it take to get a business ready for sale, to get these home inspection companies ready to be acquired?
And that's a great question. So I can tell you what are some of the things that we were looking for and the businesses that we've talked to, because we've talked to numerous different businesses so far, and we're trying to do a lot more business acquisitions than just the one that we just did. So one of the things is P&Ls, right? You want to have really clean books, really good P&Ls. If your company is not making a profit, then why, right? And those are big things to know. So you got to make sure you have really good clean books, everything's put together, because any company is going to want to audit those books and take a look at them. Other thing that we look at is, how is your inspections, like what type of CRM system are you using? Right? We all know there's a ton of different CRM systems out there. What are you using? What does it do? Are you just using Google Calendar, or are you actually using something more advanced to track everything? What team do you have in place? Is it just you doing inspections, or do you have different inspectors underneath you? If you do, if you do 1,000 inspections a year, what percentage of those inspections are actually under your name only? Because you got to think about this. Then that's an extra person you have to fill in when the business acquisition is done. Who's answering your calls? I'm trying to think what else. So there's a lot of questions. These are the big things that we think about, and then we want to know how your business is ran day to day. Right? How involved are you and making sure that things get done. If you're super involved, where almost 90% of everything that's happening in your business you have to be involved in, that actually drives the cost, that drives the price of your business down. Because now that means that it's even harder to take your business and put it into somebody else's name, because you don't want to lose revenue, right? It's all about revenue. You don't want to lose revenue, so you want to make it as smooth of a transition as possible and make it the most sellable. You also want to talk about revenue. Revenue is really important, right? And expenses. So if your expenses and we go back to that whole, profit. And if anybody hasn't read the book Profit First, please read it, because it's an amazing book. And profit wise, what is the company profit? What are you making? What are you spending for marketing? Things like that. So, there's a variety of different questions, but these are some of the main ones we ask, and we want to get to know, and see, because that all these things are what drives the price of how much you can get for your home inspection company.
Absolutely, and thank you for dropping that book in there, because we've been recommended that book many times on the show by many guests. So I want to just highlight that real quick. That is Profit First by Mike Malkowitz, and I highly recommend that book as well. Definitely check it out. If so many of our guests are recommending it, it must be a book worth reading, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So one other thing that you guys have done since we last spoke that I'm really excited to talk about, because it seems pretty big, it sounds big to me, is the real estate school. So you're starting a real estate school, is that correct?
Yes. So it kind of was something that we had already prior to the pandemic. We had a real estate school, and then the pandemic just made it go into overdrive, right? We had to find different ways for franchisees to start marketing. So we just really started pushing more through our real estate school. So we actually, it's not just, right now it is pre-licensing, so we have teachers on payroll, where if somebody wants to become a real estate agent, they can come to us and get all the training in order to become a real estate agent. If they need continuing education credits, great, we can help you with that and get you all the credits you need, and not just home inspection based. We're talking about fair housing, we're talking about NAR code of ethics, we're talking everything that you need. We're working on the brokers licensing right now too, so if you have agents that want to become a broker, they would be able to go with us. And our vision with the real estate school is really to go hand in hand with Inspection Boys. Is every state that an Inspection Boys location is in, we want to have the real estate school in that state too, to help promote the brand and also help franchisees too. So that's kind of our long-term vision with that. And it's a pretty big one, and it'll be really good.
Yeah, it sounds great. So I'm wondering, what does it look like now, and what have you seen come from it? What have been the fruits of your labor from marketing with a real estate school?
Put it this way, just locally, because right now our real estate school is just in the state of New York, and I'm working on getting it approved in the state of Florida and a few other states that we have franchisees in right now too. But it offers a whole different revenue source. Right now, you're not just talking about home inspection. Now you're building a business of real estate, and you have people coming in for licensing for you. You have sponsors who reach out to you that are, want to promote their businesses at your school too. So it's been super beneficial, and it just it improves your network, right, of the people that you're around and who you surround yourself with, and you get in front of a lot more people. So it's been really beneficial for us. It's a lot of work. I won't definitely. If I sat here and told you it's easy, it's not easy. That's why a lot of people don't do it. But it's been working out pretty well, and our idea is just to keep growing it and keep expanding it. But especially locally in New York, it's not just going to be the real estate school. We plan on expanding it in a variety of other additional things, like entrepreneurship, how to grow a business. Maybe you want to become an entrepreneur and you don't know where to start. We're going to offer classes like that. We're going to offer marketing classes. How to build a business. So even if you're not part of the Inspection Boys brand, our idea is to help educate people if they want to get to those dreams and they can't afford a franchise. Well, our school is going to help fill those voids and help people get to that next level that they want to get to.
That's awesome. I love the sound of that. And so the more I hear about this, the more that I'm thinking, this is a great way to create sticky relationships in your community. So locally, have you seen that the networking capabilities you have with this school are just exponentially growing as you're building a community?
Yes, I have. I've noticed just events locally that I've gone to, because we've been able to do Zoom and in person, but because with the pandemic we were doing so much Zoom, there's people that they feel that they have a close relationship with me just because of all the classes we've done and hosted. And these are people I'm just meeting for the first time, and I'm not used to experiencing that. I'm not used to not recognizing people, and they come up to me and they're thanking me and telling me that, because of our classes, they've been able to grow it, their revenue by such and such, or because of our instructors. So it's really kind of really cool. And it's not done in a, how do I put this, like in a selfish way where it's like, oh, I just want to grow our business. We really just want to help everybody become better than who they are now and grow their own businesses too,
Absolutely. I recently talked about this on a podcast with Dave Kogan, where we were talking about, alternative ways to build up your company and your kind of position in the community. And I think this is a fantastic way to show that, you can give in your community and get in what seems like an alternative way, right? You're giving information, and now you're getting these great relationships, and your brand's getting out there in a very positive light. I think that's powerful to start thinking a little bit differently.
It really is. And one thing that it's something I haven't had too much experience with, but I'm getting more involved in, is actually trying to give back more so, right? Like getting involved in nonprofits or charities. So we're actually doing an event in August, and part of the proceeds that get generated from that event are actually going to be going to a nonprofit or a charity. And that makes me really happy because now we're giving back in an even bigger way than we were ever able to before.
Wow. What is the event?
So we're doing a big, it started off as a CE class on pretty much how to overcome the current market that we're in, and have a bunch of panelists, and then it's going into a networking and cocktail event afterwards. And so whatever tickets are sold at that event, those tickets will be donated to a charity that we're working with right now. So we're really excited about that.
Awesome. So is this event for inspectors within your brand, or is this for any inspector?
It's open to anybody. Most of the time we found that people are too scared to come to our building where we're at, but we've had a few inspection companies. We actually have the local NACHI chapter that meets at our building, and I'm pretty much an open book. I will talk to anybody and tell them, if they feel they want advice or things like that. And so those who know me in the community, especially in the local home inspector community in Long Island, they know if they can reach out to me and I'll answer any questions. And then you got some people who I guess they're too scared. I don't know. So I'll say this now, if you want to come, you can come.
Right. So if you want, you're more than welcome to give the details, when, where, because I'm sure that there's someone in your area that's listening that's interested.
Yeah, so it's August 9th. And the CE class, the CE credits are just for real estate agents for 2 hours. So that starts at 4 o'clock to 6. And then from about 6:30 to about, I'm going to say 9, maybe 10, is going to be the cocktail and networking hour. So it's going to be, we're going to DJ, we're going to have cocktails and drinks and food and, a bunch of different people. So our idea is to pretty much sell out of tickets, and where we won't be able to sell anymore. So first come, first served.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a great event, and thank you for sharing that here. So one thing you mentioned in there with this event that you're going to be talking about the current market is a perfect segue to what I want to finish on today, which is, what is your take on the current market? What are the conversations you've been having within the industry? And then where do you think the market will move in the near future?
So this is one of those things where you're hearing so many people say different things, right? Some people are comparing this to the last recession, which was, 2007, 2008, and I don't think it's that. The reason why is, if we think back to how it was during that time, literally banks were giving away money. right? You could walk into a bank and tell them you wanted to get a mortgage, and even if you didn't meet the income requirements, they were giving you a mortgage, right? And that's really what was the issue, is just they were giving away all this money to people who really couldn't afford these items, right? These houses or things like that. That's not happening with the banks. It's still super difficult to get mortgages, right? And if we look back, I can speak from experience, when the rates recently were risen, we saw a dip, right? And I explained to people, I said, why are we seeing the dip this week, or the same exact week? It's because every single buyer that was out there has to go get pre-approved, right? Because now the interest rates are higher, so now their budgets have also dropped, because the pre-approvals are based upon the amount of money that they make and what they qualify for. So it's going to be a change where it's not going to be so easy to sell houses like it was before for some agents, right? Some agents were able to come into the business and just start selling houses really easily, and it's not going to be that market anymore. Now you really need to know how to sell a house, how to really lead generate, right? If you talk to all these top agents, they all talk about how to lead generate, right? And as a home inspection company, if you're not doing business with real estate agents, you're missing a big lead source, because real estate agents, there's a way to communicate with real estate agents and have a good relationship with them. And it's really good. So I had a post recently I read from a lender friend of mine, and he said, are you close with some real estate agents in your network? If so, hug them, because you may not see them again. And it's really sad, because a lot of agents that didn't have to do much, they just kind of started making money really quickly. You're going to lose a lot of real estate agents in these next few months, because they simply can't afford it. They actually don't know how to sell like they thought they did. And you're also going to lose a lot of home inspection companies, unfortunately. So how do you take market share? Well, you got to start thinking about that. How to take market share, how to grow your business. Like, what you do now affects you in 6 months. So that's kind of my you're going to see a big change and like that, but just start worrying about marketing to overcome this.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So what do you think is the future of the market?
I think, people never stop buying houses. Mm-hmm. Right? There's a way to keep growing, and you just got to keep finding other ways of marketing and get in front of the agents that are still in this. So, for us, I'm not really too worried. It's just a matter of, taking market share and just keep growing and coming up with different marketing strategies. But, we're already hitting, the recession. We're already hitting it. Look at gas prices. Look at all this. And, thankfully, we still have a lot of work coming in. So it's just a matter of changing your mindset and how your business is doing business now and adapting to these times. If you can't adapt, then it could be really bad for your business later on.
Absolutely. So I'm thinking, is the way to combat this, even moving forward, to focus on marketing and really making sure you hone in on what works for your company?
If you talk to all the people in the industry right now, what is it something that they have not dropped their budgets on if they want to stay in this industry? What is it? And they want to keep their businesses. They have not dropped their marketing budgets. If anything, they've increased their marketing budgets.
Wow. So if anyone is wondering why we do so many episodes on marketing, that would be why.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, in this podcast we have a lot of industry experts and professionals that come on to talk about marketing, because it is so important, and I feel like it would make you, it obviously helps you grow in normal times, but also makes you not recession proof, but kind of immune or better armored and well suited for changes in the market. So my next question is, when you see the current market in like the place it is now, do you see it as an opportunity? Should people be seeing this as an opportunity to grab market share?
Absolutely. If you're now looking at it as an opportunity, if you're worried what's going to be happening, you need to change the mindset and start looking at it as a positive thing, because it's a great opportunity for our industry to take more market share. If you're doing it right, it's a great opportunity. Unfortunately, even during the pandemic, we were able to take market share because not everybody was equipped to ride out the storm, right? This is another one of those scenarios.
So to be equipped to ride out the storm, it really does sound like it's a lot of marketing. So what have you seen that's working and not working for marketing?
Join Inspection Boys franchise and I'll tell you.
You don't have to give away the farm, but just basic concepts. Is there something that someone's doing today that you see all the time, they say that is not working?
You know what? Basic marketing strategies that are inexpensive work. And one of those things is keeping in touch with your referring partners, right? Whether that's real estate agents, whether that's lenders, real estate attorneys, title company, if you're in a state, like keeping in touch with everybody who is a referral source for you and keeping top of mind. How do you do that? It could just be a simple phone call. It could be a postcard that's sent. It could be email marketing. It could be a variety of different things. And social media. If you're not utilizing social media can make you look so much bigger than what you are. And it's all with social media, right? Yeah. So utilize all these things. If you don't really have that much money to really play around with, like some of these other companies, utilize these things because there's a lot of things that you could be doing without spending too much money.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for giving us that. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your perspective with us.
Oh, no, thank you so much, Jake. It was so much fun, and I'm glad to have done this again, and it's always a pleasure being on here with you guys.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine. I know that you have a very busy schedule, but it's great because you're growing and you're doing so much stuff over there at the Inspection Boys. But I'm sure I can speak for the audience when I say we'd love to have you back on if you'd like to do that. So stay tuned. We will definitely try to have Bridget on again.
That'd be so much fun. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. So thank you, Bridget, again. Thank you once again. Thank you to the audience for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Tune in to our social media. We actually, you'll see a bunch of posts on there from these shows, a bunch of the great insights that get highlighted. So tune in, check us out on all the social media platforms. And if you have any questions about franchises, definitely reach out to Bridget. She dropped her email earlier in the episode. But Bridget, do you want to give that email one more time?
Absolutely, guys. So it's Nassau, NASSAU, at the inspectionboys.com.
All right. So definitely take Bridget up on that and ask her some questions if you have any on franchising. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Happy inspecting.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Inspection Pros Podcast. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss our next episode. This episode was produced by Jake Aronson. This has been a Pair Payments production.